Before we start, I want to say that only 1% of you are subscribed. Please subscribe because when we reach 1,000 subscribers, I will post a special video for you. The night air on Terra Nova was crisp, a soft breeze rustling the silver leaves of the vineyard trees. Dr. Jonathan Reeve, an exobiologist, walked the paths of the outpost with a lantern in hand, his mind absorbed in the nocturnal sounds of the alien planet. Beside him strode Captain Alex Mercer, head of the human outpost security, a man as grounded as he was cautious. "So, you really think they'll show up tonight?" Alex asked, skepticism lacing his tone. Jonathan smiled faintly, adjusting his glasses. "The Zeltrons are curious by nature. My interactions with their scouts have been promising. They seem as intrigued by us as we are by them." As they rounded a bend, a figure emerged from the shadows, a tall, slender form with iridescent skin that shimmered under the moonlight. It was Elora, a member of the Zeltron species. Her eyes glowed softly, reflecting a depth of intelligence and an unmistakable sense of wonder. Alex stiffened, his hand inching towards the blaster at his belt. Jonathan placed a hand on Alex's arm, shaking his head. "It's okay, she's not a threat." Elora stopped a few feet away, her gaze flitting between the two men. "I'm Elora," she said, her voice musical yet foreign. "Jonathan, your efforts to understand our flora have been observed. We wish to understand why." Jonathan's heart raced with excitement. "We study to learn, to share knowledge, and coexist. We mean no harm, only hope to bridge our worlds." Elora tilted her head, considering his words. "And what do you wish to learn from Elora?" "Everything that you are willing to share about your world and people," Jonathan replied, his voice warm. Alex looked between them, his suspicion slowly waning. "We have much to learn from each other. Peaceful coexistence could benefit us all." Intrigued, Elora stepped closer. "Your companion speaks of peace, yet he fears," she noted, nodding at Alex. Alex chuckled, easing out of his defensive stance. "Guess it's not easy hiding anything from you." "No," Elora agreed, a smile playing on her lips. "Zeltrons feel much. Come, show me your studies, Jonathan. I will show mine." Together, they walked back to the research lab, a small, well-lit building filled with samples of plants, soils, and digital screens displaying various data. Jonathan eagerly introduced Elora to his work, explaining the delicate ecosystem interactions on Terra Nova. As they delved into discussions about native species and environmental cycles, Alex observed, feeling a new respect for the Zeltron's eagerness to learn. Elora was equally generous, sharing details about Zeltron botanical remedies and agricultural techniques, fascinating Jonathan with her depth of knowledge. Hours slipped by as they exchanged information, their mutual fascination forming the first threads of a bond that Jonathan hoped would grow stronger with time. As Elora prepared to leave, she turned to Jonathan, her expression serious yet gentle. "Your desire to understand is powerful. I will return, Jonathan, with others who wish to learn. We shall see what futures can be built." Jonathan watched her disappear into the night, a sense of accomplishment swelling in his chest. Beside him, Alex let out a low whistle. "Looks like you were right, document. There's a lot more to them than meets the eye." Smiling, Jonathan turned off the lantern. "Yes, and this is just the beginning." The following evening, Terra Nova's research lab buzzed with an unusual energy. Jonathan and his colleague, Dr. Michael Lee, an expert in xenolinguistics, prepared for another visit from Elora. Michael set up recording equipment, eager to capture the nuances of the Zeltron language. "You think she'll bring others?" Michael asked, checking the audio levels. Jonathan arranged a series of plant specimens on the table for discussion. "She seemed interested in sharing knowledge. I wouldn't be surprised if she did." Just as he finished, Elora entered, not alone this time, but accompanied by two other Zeltrons. "This is Aaron and Lisa," she introduced. "They are keen to understand your science of plants." Michael smiled warmly, extending a hand, then remembered Zeltrons didn't shake hands. He awkwardly retracted it, switching to a nod. "Welcome. I'm Michael. I study communication." Aaron, taller and more reserved, nodded back. "We communicate differently, but I find your methods intriguing." Lisa, with a sparkle in her eye, looked around curiously. "You use many devices. Do they speak as well?" Jonathan chuckled. "In a way, they help us speak to the universe." The group gathered around a table as Jonathan began explaining the purpose of each specimen. Elora listened intently, occasionally touching a leaf or flower, sharing its Zeltron name and uses. Michael, trying to bridge the communication gap, asked, "How do you convey complex ideas in your language?" Elora thought for a moment. "Our words are simple. Emotions carry the depth. We would share feelings to explain." "Fascinating," Michael mused. "Human languages rely heavily on words and less on emotional context." As the evening progressed, they moved from scientific exchange to cultural discussion. Lisa was particularly interested in human art and asked Jonathan about music. "Music is a big part of human culture. It expresses things words cannot," Jonathan explained and decided to demonstrate. He pulled up a classical piece on his tablet, the soft strains of a violin filling the room. Lisa closed her eyes, swaying slightly. "It's like the wind through leaves." "Beautiful." Seeing the interest, Michael suggested, "Maybe tomorrow night we can show you some visual art and other music genres." "Yes, we would like that," Aaron said, his usual reserve melting away a bit. "Your ways are very different but deeply fascinating." Before they parted for the night, Jonathan handed Elora a small device. "This is a recorder. You can capture sounds of your world, and we can learn from them." Elora accepted it with a nod of gratitude. "And perhaps next time we can show you more of our world beyond the outpost." The group's farewells were warmer this time, the initial awkwardness replaced by a budding eagerness to learn more about each other. As they left, Michael turned to Jonathan, an excited gleam in his eye. "This is groundbreaking, Jonathan. We're not just exchanging knowledge. We're weaving our lives into a richer tapestry." Jonathan nodded, feeling the weight of their progress. "Yes, and tomorrow we'll add more colors to that tapestry." Their preparations for the following day began immediately, both men fueled by the promising bridge being built between their peoples. The next evening brought a lively atmosphere to the Terra Nova outpost. Jonathan and Michael, along with Dr. Simon Torres, an anthropologist, set up an informal exhibition of human arts and crafts in the communal area of the research lab. Elora arrived with Aaron and Lisa, as well as two new Zeltran faces, eager for the promised display of human culture. Jonathan greeted them with a warm smile. "Welcome back. Tonight we've prepared something a little different." Simon stepped forward, extending his hand in greeting before remembering Zeltran customs and instead gesturing towards the displays. "We're excited to share some examples of human creativity with you." The Zeltrans, led by Elora, approached the first exhibit, a series of paintings ranging from classical to modern abstracts. Jonathan explained the context behind each piece, detailing the emotions and historical significance tied to them. Aaron, intrigued by a Van Gogh replica, pointed to the swirling stars. "These movements, they are like your music, yes? Expressing feeling?" "Exactly," Simon chimed in. Van Gogh was known for his turbulent emotions, which he conveyed through chaotic brushstrokes. Lisa, moving to a sculpture, touched it lightly, her expression thoughtful. "In our culture, art is less visual, more sensory. We create sculptures that respond to emotional touch." Michael, who had been setting up a small speaker, beckoned them over. "Speaking of sensory experiences, let's not forget about music. We've got a variety of genres to show you tonight." As the music played, ranging from jazz to electronic, the group observed the Zeltran's reactions. Elora seemed particularly taken with a soft, bluesy number, swaying slightly as the melody enveloped the room. "This music speaks of longing," she commented, her voice reflective. Jonathan nodded. "Blues often deals with themes of longing and personal struggle. It's very emotional and raw." Encouraged by the engagement, Simon suggested, "Why don't we try something interactive? Music isn't just to be listened to. It's also to be played." Michael retrieved a few simple instruments, a guitar, a keyboard, and a set of bongos, and began a basic rhythm. One by one, he taught each Zeltran a simple melody, encouraging them to play along. The session turned playful, with each Zeltran trying their hand at the instruments, their initial hesitance giving way to laughter and applause. Jonathan took the opportunity to record the session, thinking of the valuable insights into Zeltran rhythm and coordination it provided. As the evening wound down, Elora approached Jonathan. "This sharing has been enlightening. We are beginning to see many layers to your people." Jonathan, pleased with the night's success, replied, "And we are only beginning to understand yours. Maybe tomorrow you could share more about Zeltran cultural expressions?" Elora nodded, a spark of excitement in her eyes. "We would like that. We have music of our own, though it's quite different. We'll prepare something for you," Simon added eagerly, "and perhaps you can show us more about those emotional sculptures you mentioned." As the Zeltrans departed, the men of Terra Nova stayed back, discussing the night's events and planning for the next meeting. Seems we're making real progress, not just in understanding their culture, but in building a mutual respect, Michael noted, packing away the instruments. Simon agreed, looking over his notes. Every session like this is a step closer to truly understanding each other. And tomorrow, we get to step into their world a bit more. Jonathan locked up the lab, his mind already racing with possibilities. Let's make sure we keep this momentum going. This exchange is turning into one of the most rewarding experiences of our careers. The soft glow of twilight bathed Terra Nova as the research team, along with Jonathan, Michael, and Simon, prepared for an evening of cultural immersion with their Zeltran guests. Tonight, the exchange would take place under the stars, a fitting backdrop for what promised to be a profound sharing of Zeltran culture. Elora arrived with Aaron, Lisa, and two other Zeltrans, carrying what appeared to be delicate, luminescent instruments. Their soft light pulsed rhythmically, as if breathing with a life of their own. The human team greeted them with eager anticipation, their equipment ready to capture every moment. Tonight, we share with you our sound of soul, Elora announced, gesturing to the instruments. These are not just tools of music, but of emotion. Jonathan, intrigued, asked, "How do they work?" Aaron, who carried a larger, harp-like instrument, explained, "They respond to our emotional state. The music changes with our feelings. We will show you." As the Zeltrans began to play, the humans were enveloped in a symphony of sound and light. The music was unlike anything they had ever heard. It ebbed and flowed not only with the melodies but with the palpable emotions of its players. Michael, always curious, noted, "The sound is incredible. It's almost like the instruments are part of you." Lisa smiled, playing a string of her own luminescent device, which emitted a warm, golden light. "They are extensions of ourselves, created from the bioluminescent flora of our home." Simon, scribbling notes, added, "It's fascinating how your culture uses technology to enhance emotional expression rather than just for practical tasks." The session grew more interactive as Elora invited the humans to attempt playing the instruments. Jonathan hesitated at first, but under Elora's guidance, he gently touched the strings of the instrument Aaron had been playing. To his surprise, the sounds that emanated were calm and soothing, reflecting his growing comfort and fascination with the Zeltran culture. Seeing this, Michael chuckled. "Looks like you're a natural, Jonathan." Encouraged by his success, the others took turns, each producing music that reflected their individual emotional states. The experience was enlightening, offering the humans a glimpse into the Zeltran way of life that went beyond words and into the realm of pure feeling. As the night progressed, the exchange deepened, with both sides sharing stories about their planets, their people, and their dreams for the future. The atmosphere was one of mutual respect and a shared desire for deeper understanding. Aaron, who had been more reserved, finally opened up. "Your willingness to understand us truly honors us. We see now how much we can learn from each other." Simon responded, "This is more than just an exchange of knowledge. It's the beginning of a friendship that I hope will last for many years." As the evening came to a close, Elora gathered her instruments, her face alight with a serene smile. "We must do this again. Each session brings us closer, not just as envoys of our people, but as friends." Jonathan nodded in agreement. "We'll plan another meeting soon. Maybe next time we can share more of our technological advancements." Indeed, Elora replied as she and her group made their way back to their part of the planet. "We look forward to it." The human team lingered for a while, reflecting on the evening's revelations. Michael summed up the night's success. Every chord struck tonight was not just music, but a bridge being built. Jonathan, gazing at the stars, felt a profound sense of connection. "Yes, and we'll keep building, one note at a time." In the weeks that followed, the bond between the humans and Zeltrans deepened significantly. The Terra Nova outpost buzzed with excitement as another cultural exchange was organized, this time focusing on technology and innovation. Dr. Simon Torres, along with Jonathan and Michael, prepared demonstrations of human technological achievements, hoping to fascinate their Zeltran friends just as they had been captivated by Zeltran emotional instruments. As Elora and her group arrived, Jonathan greeted them with a warm smile. "Welcome back. Today, we're excited to share some of our technological advancements with you." Elora, accompanied by Aaron, Lisa, and two new faces, Jorah and Kel, expressed eager anticipation. "We are grateful, Jonathan. It is our turn to learn from you." Michael led the group to the first station where a holographic projector displayed images of Earth and other human colonies. This device helps us study and teach about places we cannot physically visit, he explained. Jorah, fascinated, reached out to touch the floating images. It's like magic, he remarked, his eyes wide with wonder. Simon chimed in a way, it is. But it's also a tool that helps us bridge the distance between stars. The next demonstration involved a small drone, which Simon expertly maneuvered around the group. Drones are used for a variety of purposes, from research and mapping to delivery systems. Lisa laughed as she dodged the playful drone. You use machines for both work and play. It's very human. As the evening progressed, the Zeltrans shared insights into their own technology, particularly how it integrated with their biology. Kel, a Zeltran engineer, presented a small bioelectronic device that could heal minor injuries. Our technology often blends with our biology to enhance life, he explained. Jonathan, intrigued, noted, our medical technology is advanced, but the integration of biological elements is something we're still exploring. The exchange became a blend of discussions and practical demonstrations. The humans showed the Zeltrans tablets and communication devices, while the Zeltrans offered a glimpse into their environmental control technologies, which were particularly sophisticated. As the night drew on, the group gathered around a large table where Michael had set up a small robotics kit. Now for some hands-on fun, he announced. Let's see if we can build a simple robot together. The challenge was met with enthusiasm from both humans and Zeltrans. They divided into teams, mixing species to foster cooperation. The task was simple yet engaging, requiring them to assemble a robot capable of navigating a small maze. Elora, paired with Jonathan, laughed as they tried to figure out the correct placement of a sensor. This is harder than playing your instruments, she joked. Jonathan grinned, but just as rewarding when it works. After several attempts and much laughter, their robot successfully completed the maze. Cheers erupted around the room, the joy of shared achievement filling the air. As they cleaned up, Aaron approached Simon. Your willingness to share openly has taught us much about trust and friendship. Simon nodded, genuinely moved. And we've learned equally from you. This exchange goes beyond technology and culture. It's about building a future together. The evening ended with promises to continue the exchanges and plans for joint projects that could benefit both human and Zeltran societies. As the Zeltrans departed, Michael turned to his colleagues. Think about how much we've achieved in just a few short weeks. Jonathan, looking after the departing figures, felt a profound connection. We're not just sharing knowledge, we're creating a new way of living together. As the lights of the outpost dimmed, the men felt a collective sense of accomplishment and anticipation for the future they were building, one discovery at a time. The deepening relationship between the humans and Zeltrans at Terra Nova was not without its challenges. As the months passed, the novelty of their interactions gave way to more complex emotional and cultural exchanges, revealing gaps in understanding that were harder to bridge. Jonathan, Michael, Simon, and the Zeltrans convened for a special meeting to address these emerging issues. In the outpost's main conference room, Jonathan opened the discussion. We've made incredible strides in understanding each other's technologies and cultures. However, we need to address some of the misunderstandings that have come up. Elora, always forthright, nodded in agreement. Yes, our ways of expressing emotions and thoughts directly sometimes conflict with your more reserved communication style, Michael added, and we've noticed some of our team members struggle with the intensity of your emotional expressions. It's something new for us, and it can be overwhelming. Simon, looking through his notes from previous sessions, suggested, perhaps we need a more structured approach to these exchanges. Could we consider having sessions specifically focused on emotional communication? Aaron, who had been quiet, spoke up. That might help. We could use these sessions to learn about setting emotional boundaries. We want to respect your comfort levels while sharing our own. Jonathan appreciated Aaron's insight. That's a great idea. We could start with simple exercises to express emotions in a way that's informative but not invasive. The group agreed, and plans were made to implement these emotional communication sessions. Over the next few weeks, both humans and Zeltrans attended workshops led by Simon and Elora, designed to foster understanding and respect for each other's emotional and communicative styles. During one workshop, Michael expressed his initial discomfort with the Zeltran way of emotional openness. At first, I felt like I was being overwhelmed. But I've come to understand that it's not about overwhelming. It's about sharing deeply. Elora responded, and we have learned to appreciate your need for verbal expression and privacy. It's a balance we are still learning to achieve. The workshops proved beneficial. They included role-playing scenarios where each participant practiced conveying their feelings using both Zeltran and human methods. Jonathan and Elora co-facilitated a session where they demonstrated how to discuss a sensitive topic by balancing direct emotional expression with verbal discussion. As the sessions progressed, the participants became more comfortable with each other's styles. They learned to recognize cues indicating when someone was uncomfortable or needed to switch communication styles. Towards the end of one session, Simon remarked, "These workshops have not only helped us understand each other better, but also enriched our personal ways of communicating." Aaron agreed, "Yes, we are finding a new language together, one that merges our cultures." With the emotional communication workshops in place, other areas of collaboration also improved. Joint scientific and cultural projects were discussed with newfound clarity and sensitivity, leading to more productive and fulfilling interactions. One evening after a workshop, Jonathan and Elora walked back to the lab together. "I feel we're really making progress," Jonathan said, watching the twin moons of Terra Nova rise in the sky. Elora smiled, her expression one of contentment. "Yes, we are learning to dance to a complex rhythm, one created from both our worlds." Their conversation lingered on the future, discussing plans for further integration of human and Zeltran efforts in research and cultural exchanges. It was clear that while challenges remained, the groundwork laid by their commitment to understanding each other's emotional landscapes was paving the way for a successful partnership. The newfound emotional understanding between the humans and Zeltrans had fostered a dynamic shift in their collaborative efforts at Terra Nova. Projects that once seemed fraught with miscommunication now progressed with a smoother, more intuitive synergy. Yet, as Jonathan, Michael, Simon, and the Zeltran delegates prepared for presentation of their joint achievements to the broader interstellar community, they encountered a new set of challenges from skeptics within both their communities. In the outpost's main lab, Simon addressed the group with a hint of concern in his voice. "We've done well to overcome our internal challenges, but there's still skepticism among the wider human and Zeltran communities. Some believe we're compromising too much of our cultural identities." Michael, setting up the holographic displays for the presentation, added, "And there are those who think these efforts won't translate into practical outcomes. We need to prove that our collaboration is not only culturally enriching, but also beneficial in practical terms." Elora, reviewing the presentation script, suggested, "Perhaps we should highlight specific projects that showcase the direct benefits of our cooperation, like the agricultural innovations and the combined environmental studies." Jonathan nodded in agreement. "That's a good start. We should also demonstrate how this partnership is a model for future interspecies cooperation." Aaron, meticulously adjusting the layout of the presentation material, chimed in. "We need to show that this isn't about losing our identities, but enriching them, creating something new and beneficial from our combined strengths." The group worked tirelessly, refining their presentation to convincingly address these concerns. They included case studies, testimonials from community members, and detailed data analyses to demonstrate the tangible benefits of their collaboration. On the day of the presentation, the conference room was filled with representatives from various human and Zeltran sectors. Jonathan opened the meeting with a warm welcome, emphasizing the unique opportunity this partnership presented. "As different as we are," Jonathan began, "our joint efforts have led to innovations in agriculture that have doubled food production on Terra Nova. We've also made significant advances in environmental conservation." Michael then took over, presenting the enhanced communication tools developed through the integration of human and Zeltran technologies. "These tools have not only improved our project efficiency, but have also reduced misunderstandings significantly." Simon presented next, focusing on the cultural exchange aspects. "Our joint cultural festivals have seen increased participation from both communities, fostering a greater appreciation of our diverse heritages." Elora and Aaron concluded the presentation with testimonials from various team members, both Zeltran and human, who shared personal stories of growth and friendship. As the presentation ended, the room erupted into thoughtful discussion. Some skeptics raised concerns, but many expressed a new understanding and interest in the potential of such partnerships. After the meeting, as the team gathered to reflect on the feedback, Simon noted, "It's clear we've made some headway today. There's interest and curiosity, even among the doubters." Aaron, looking relieved, added, "Yes, the questions were challenging, but the openness to dialogue is a positive sign. We must continue to engage openly and patiently." Jonathan, feeling a sense of accomplishment, shared his thoughts. "Every question, every doubt, gives us a chance to explain our vision better. We're not just combining technologies or sharing resources. We're building a community. As the team discussed plans for follow-up sessions and community engagement activities, the mood was optimistic. They knew the path ahead would require continued effort, but the foundation they had built promised a future rich with potential. The commitment to mutual understanding and respect, cultivated through their workshops and shared experiences, and not only transformed their projects, but also sowed the seeds for lasting interspecies friendship. As they left the conference room, they did so with a renewed commitment to their shared journey, confident in the knowledge that together, they were paving the way for a brighter future. The final gathering at Terra Nova was both a celebration and a strategic planning session, marking a pivotal moment in the partnership between humans and Zeltrons. Under the soft glow of Terra Nova's twin moons, Jonathan, Michael, Simon, Elora, Aaron, and the rest of the team assembled in the central pavilion, surrounded by displays of their joint achievements and plans for future collaborations. Jonathan stood before the group, a sense of accomplishment evident in his voice. Looking back at where we started, I'm amazed at the progress we've made, not just in our projects, but in our understanding of each other. Elora, with a serene smile, responded, "Yes, Jonathan. What began as a simple exchange of knowledge has grown into a deep, fruitful partnership. We have paved new paths for both our peoples." Michael interjected with a lighthearted grin, "And let's not forget the practical outcomes. The hybrid energy system we developed is about to go online. It's going to power half of this outpost with renewable energy from Zeltron Biotech and human solar tech." Simon, flipping through a digital notepad, added, "And our next step involves sharing these successes with other colonies. We're planning a series of workshops across human and Zeltron spaces." Aaron nodded thoughtfully. "We should also consider an interspecies internship program. It would allow our younger generations to learn from this foundation we've built." The discussion turned towards educational initiatives, with each member contributing ideas on how best to integrate their learning systems. Ideas flowed freely, reflecting the ease and creativity that had become the hallmark of their interactions. As they planned, Jonathan looked around at the enthusiastic faces, feeling a wave of optimism. These plans will require a lot of work, but they're a testament to our commitment to each other. Let's get ready for a busy but exciting future. Elora then stood up, her eyes reflecting the starlight. "Before we conclude, I have a special announcement. The Galactic Council has taken note of our cooperation. They're considering Terra Nova as a model for future interspecies collaboration projects." A murmur of excitement swept through the group. Simon was quick to respond, "That's incredible, Elora. This could open so many doors for similar projects across the galaxy." The meeting gradually shifted from formal discussions to a more celebratory atmosphere. The team shared a meal featuring dishes from both human and Zeltron cuisines, each person talking about their dreams and aspirations for the partnership's future. As the evening drew to a close, Jonathan and Elora stood side by side, looking out at the landscape of Terra Nova. When an alien girl tries bonding with a human for the first time, Jonathan mused, echoing the phrase that had become a symbol of their journey, "Who would have thought it would lead to this?" Elora laughed softly, her voice full of warmth. "It is more than I hoped for, Jonathan. We started with curiosity and built something profound on the foundation of understanding and respect." The two looked over at their friends, Zeltrons and humans alike, laughing and planning together under the stars. It was a scene of harmony and potential, promising not just a shared future, but a vibrant one. As the group disbanded for the night, promises to meet again soon were made. The paths they would walk together were only just beginning to unfold, each step forward a continuation of their shared narrative, woven from the threads of their diverse legacies and united hopes. Jonathan, watching everyone depart, felt a deep sense of peace. The challenges had been many, but the rewards were greater. This partnership, born from a simple desire to understand, had grown into a beacon that would light the way for others across the stars.